My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. Alrighty, here is the state following stalking by plane as I'm documenting the gang stalkers at the corrupt institution Wells Fargo at 240 North Euclid Avenue. They are at the Ontario Town Square where the fake sun is over me, and it is in fact over me. That's why when I'm at this same address at 4 p.m. it remains in alignment to me. There are no planes taking off from the airport headed toward a destination that fly west over the Ontario Town Square, make a U-turn over Euclid Avenue, and go back in the opposite direction. The entity's engaging path, flying in alignment to me, I'm documenting these gang stalkers. They'll be uploaded onto the Google Drive. Wells Fargo was gang stalking. That's why I have a fake sun setting over me. The entity is gang stalking with all the people of the state you see here. This is surveillance. They're going to be prosecuted. This is a serial gang stalking with the terrorist, the Ontario International Airport. All right, routinely documented. This is the grounds of federal prisons, conspiracy to murder. So while maintaining federal stalking under Title 18, and demons are stalking in planes, just like they're stalking in cars, just like they're stalking by being at the venue. Communication devices surround. This is that population of who are referred to as the Nephilim, and this is the criminal system that is gang stalking. It's demonic activity. Okay, P.O.C. This is a gang stalker of OVITT Family Community Library, crossing path. Criminal activity outside of OVITT Family Community Library, criminal activity inside of OVITT Family Community. And the entities maintaining aerial surveillance by the criminal conduct, the terrorism by the Ontario International Airport. This is license 7VVP 628 8DWY 527, license 17352R2. And these are all demons. That's why when they drive by, impossible light moves across the building, which is an impossible occurrence. They're all demons, and they're also all criminals. They're engaged in state surveillance and furtherance of murder, which is state action, and the government is going to be prosecuted for it. This is P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, while you're looking at the fake sun, 8:50 a.m. Outside of what is standard time, this will be daylight savings time, 9:50 a.m. This is where the entity keeps the fake sun at the OVITT family. It's right here. Paul Leon is exposed as a gang stalker. Paul Leon is not a mayor. He's an enemy of the United States. Gang stalking with the population. He's a part of the same community of demons engaging what is keeping my vagina under surveillance. Every angle of this criminal system is going to be addressed in the federal prosecution of the U.S. government. This is P.O.C. at the Ontario Town Square. Alrighty, I just want to go ahead and give a special note. The demons that are gang stalking, these are third parties and the third party company, a prosecution for systematic harassment and targeting, not just by gang stalking, but doing things like what these demons that are very likely subject to deportation as well. The entity that's engaged in already conspiring your murder. This is a coward now turning his back to me. The entity's been targeting me with these leaf blowers and blowing all of the debris on me. They're doing that while they are aware of the fact that they're being documented. All of these petty tactics, I want to be clear, a population of petty demons that are stalking you, that is terrorism. Okay, you have a population of demons that are petty and the targeting and harassing you. That is terrorism when you're talking about in the aggregate. It's not just one person that's targeting you. The entity is doing this amongst a population of demons who are stalking, conspiring your murder, and I am documenting them. So this is a population of demons that are systematically harassing, and this is Brightview that I'm going to prosecute that doesn't even have any authority under the law to be here. The contract with the city of Ontario is an admission to criminal presence and activity creation. And these demons that are likely immigrants who are subject to deportation are engaging in harassing me, blowing this filthy debris over me because they're being documented while they're stalking in the first place. And that's going to be noted with regard to those that hate this country and hate American citizens that enforce their rights. And they will, again, be deported and no one will be feeling bad for them. Do not feel bad for them. Do not be deceived by the propaganda you're seeing on the internet about what needs to happen regarding justice. Deportation of terrorists from the state of California. P.O.C. It is currently 8:57 a.m. And remember, that will be 9:57 a.m. Daylight savings time. The entity has the fake sun, as I'm documenting. Ontario police parked in the same manner after 6 p.m. During daylight savings time. The entity doesn't go anywhere with this fake sun and still over me on this street at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, where I'm documenting Ontario police crossing path. The entity is maintaining the fake sun over the same entrance of the OVITT Family Community Library until exit, just like I documented last Sunday at 4 p.m. where Dylan's molesting me with impossible light. This is not the sun that's over the entrance, again, 6 hours from now. That's over on the opposite side of the same C Street circle where a population of stalkers are engaging in surveillance. 9GLH 095. The same environment remains for the group conduct of demons that engage in harassing as a population, which is terrorism. P.O.C. 8ZKP 502, and this is mental illness. Demons that are hostile, demons that are targeting for no natural purpose. It's because they are demons, and the demon-possessed are being prosecuted. They are also being unseated. They're also being disbanded. Okay? They're being shut down. License 9EJG365. This is P.O.C. It is currently, like I stated, 8:58 p.m. Excuse me, 8:58 a.m. This is the demon that keeps her back to you while you're stalking. And this is the direct prosecution of the Securitas kidnapping, of what is the stalking by the airport, and doing so in the environment with the people of the state. All right, this is gang stalking 101. It is currently 8:59 a.m. This is P.O.C. And this is, again, monitoring with communication device, monitoring with Brightview. He's still monitoring. This is P.O.C. It is the entity engaged in gang conduct. So speaking to that gang member that's engaging what is harassment with the leaf blower, okay, while monitoring, and doing so because they're hostile about what it is you're documenting. This is one that engages in what is lying about harassing people while you have not even addressed anyone, and you are going to federal prison for obstructing justice. And he's gang stalking right now. This is prison. All right, it is P.O.C. It's currently 9 a.m. That's criminal summoning. He's going to prison. He's going to prison. So that's what they're accomplishing. And this is, again, the pitfall of mental illness, where the demons are being surrounded with evidence. They bring on their own destruction. Okay? And that's literally scripture. They brought on their own destruction. This is how their mental illness is working against them now. This is P.O.C. Securitas, those are light-slinging demons. Okay? Monitoring. And so is everybody at Wells Fargo. P.O.C. license EH26J30. She's monitoring. Okay, and remember, immigration applies to the whole household. License plate 9HWT976, driving in impossible light activity, stalking. That's not sunlight. 7CEG281. The sound of sirens is focused on me and what I'm saying. It's about me. The entity is engaging in a pattern of conduct, and they're doing so while they are maintaining surveillance. Don't forget about the engineer light that fills the parking garage. That's a stalker driving out. Engineer light covers the ceiling. And I captured video showing you that on multiple occasions at 7:55 in the morning, when this fake sun is over this same entrance where it's still present after 5 p.m. The entity this is a whole unintelligent illusion. The entity's mental illness is going to serve to put them where they belong, in mental asylums, outside of this country, in federal prison, and with regard to a criminal record, so that everyone can research any terrorists, so that you don't have them in your neighborhood, so you don't have them in your workplace, so that you can make sure that they're not around any children or anyone vulnerable in the population. This is P.O.C. That particular demon, he's going to prison. And that's what is so unfortunate about being mentally ill. It's not hard to surround them with the evidence of what they're doing. This is the pattern of conduct. That's the government that Securitas is gang stalking with, the same one that he's criminally summoning and making up information about it. That's gang stalking. Terrorists are going to prison. It's currently 9:02 a.m. Alrighty, these are demons who are stalking. He follows. He's a gang stalker from the library. This is engineer light manifesting in the shade. Just I want you to see that. This is stalking. While the airport follows, this is my shadow appearing in the shade, and they go right inside of the corrupt institution, gang stalking with them, in furtherance of murder. Everybody is subject to deportation. You're talking about federal prison, the gang stalking with the Ontario police. See that vehicle over there? They're over there monitoring with the people of the state. This is state surveillance, and they're demons. Oh, the sun is so low at the same address. It's in the same position, by the way, at 6 p.m. as I walk outside of this venue. I'll attach that video for your viewing convenience, because this is the prosecution of the terrorists that are engaging in what is conspiracy to murder while they're gang stalking. Impossible light on the ground, stalking in this specific environment. And so is the terrorists of the Ontario International Airport. And this is impossible light activity, the evidence of gang stalking, the evidence of the entity that's engaging in surveillance through the supernatural, the unintelligent system of gang stalking. This is what the criminal summoning by the demons of the Ontario Police Department look like at nightfall. Light reflecting off of the rear view mirror to create a square shaped patch of light across the street on the building of Chevron. These are the demons that are gang stalking. Their unintelligent system, their demonic activity is going to prosecute them and have them committed. All right, that's the P.O.C. And this is desperation. Willing to catch a federal case? Being documented? They're willing to do that. They're engaging in that pattern of conduct, maintaining presence. And they're driving in engineer light, parking in engineer light. You're maintaining a banking institution in engineer light. This is surveillance. That's P.O.C. 7FBB845. And this is where the fake sun sets. Right here. In alignment to OVITT Family Community Library. P.O.C. It's currently 9:05 a.m. The moment that I walk right here, these demons are in their vehicles stalking the Ontario International Airport, flying right here. So this is a second before I start video. 9EOA556, gang stalking, driving in the engineer light, driving into the parking garage filled with engineer light monitoring. That's Sarah's Regis Group.
P.O.C. at nightfall, they're stalking with impossible light while I'm on the square and they're here and I'm being molested with not what are headlights, demons that are stalking with light, the same impossible light that's on this sidewalk where they're monitoring systematically. With the demons who are the Ontario police right now, through the population, through the conduct of the Ontario International Airport that is stalking. These are the demons that are being disbanded. Okay, they don't have a job. They're engaged in surveillance. That's not a job. Mike LORENZ is being prosecuted for terrorism. They're stalking in the path under the fake sun. You're looking at the evidence of them stalking right here. This is the evidence of them stalking. Maintaining surveillance, not policing, monitoring with the puppets who are the demon possessed. And that includes banking institutions like Wells Fargo that are in the specific environment. This is a thorough prosecution and it's exposure of mental illness. This is not helpful for the demons inside of the OVITT Family Community Library. I'm going to prosecute them for kidnapping with those demons right there. This is P.O.C. This is stalking. Remember, it's in this position when I'm documenting Ontario police gang stalking, 5PRL155. And that is not a takeoff from the airport. That is stalking in the path under an idle fake sun for the gang stalking purposes of a population. 7HPF 865, the Ontario Police Department, the Ontario Fire Department, the Ontario International Airport, and I believe that's Abigail gang stalking. Abigail that's engaged in criminal summoning with the OVITT Family Community Library. You'll look at my images, the fake sun is over me while I'm documenting the demons that are gang stalking at Wells Fargo, and the fake sun's over me at the same building. I'm looking at the same property from what is the vantage point from the library here. I'm at the town square looking at the library from that vantage point. This is non-movement of what is a fake sun, where the airport, the city of Ontario, is stalking. And they're also proven to be stalking because no takeoffs from Terminal 2 and Terminal 4 would include hovering over this property. And the sun is not an idle light source where it's still remaining. Remember when I am at the Ontario Airport Inn and the entity has the fake sun over me as I arrive at the in the courtyard at 12, and the entity has a fake sun over my head in that same courtyard. The entity is keeping that fake sun over me while I am at 1:01 p.m. Arriving in Ontario, and I'm walking at the ARCO where the entity has the fake sun over me yesterday at that ARCO at 7 in the morning where this airport is stalking. And I'm reminding you about, again, correlating evidence, speaking to a light source is engaged in what is remaining over me, and that's including where gang stalking is identified through public transportation. It is a state actor. The fake sun is not moving, remaining in the window of Omnitrans, where I'm proving, again, gang stalking by a population. This entity has the fake sun over me at CHEVRON at 7 and 1 o'clock as I'm coming from Ontario Airport. And this is where surveillance is underway, okay? So this is the P.O.C. The entity is engaged in what is greeting me with plain activity pursuant to surveillance. This is the evidence of tracking my steps, stalking during the day. And as I exit, the entity is engaging in a sexual offense, molesting with engineered light, just like this is engineered light under a fake sun. These are sex offenders and the co-conspirators of murder. This is the disbanding of the Ontario Police, the shutdown of the Ontario Airport, the prosecution of corrupt businesses like Wells Fargo, the prosecution of corrupt businesses like Sarah's Regis, 9ABR 475, impossible light across that venue. That's a demon. And that's somebody that knows exactly who I am, engaging in state surveillance. This is P.O.C. The Ontario Board and the Ontario Executive Team. You have Alan D. WAPNER. He is no president of Airport Authority. This is exposing ongoing surveillance by planes. I want to be clear, UPS in a plane crash. That was the same demonic entity engaging in what is murder, and then it's discussed on the news as an unfortunate occurrence. UPS is gang stalking me serially, systematically, right here. In fact, doing so at the same location where the fake sun is over me at 5 p.m. I just documented that last week at 4 p.m. where this fake sun is still right here. This is P.O.C. The sun is not going to be at the same address, meaning on the opposite side of this same tree at 4 p.m. And it's also not going to be aimed in alignment to me after 4 hours from now, where it's over me also at 10 o'clock, and the entity has this fake sun. At what vantage point are you even reaching into the depths inside of that building? This is absurd with regard to the demons that are gang stalking. It is absurd as well. It is demonic, though. That's what you're understanding. This is systematic surveillance, okay? And exposing mental illness. This is the system that is exposing public corruption. This is P.O.C. It is currently 1:40 p.m. I want to be clear, kidnapping while working at 215 E.C. Street is going to be federal prison. And you're looking at the employees and the patrons alike pacing, and they're all demons. That's P.O.C. Okay? This is the entity that's going to be prosecuted. And I want to be clear, Paul Leon, 12:51 p.m., 10 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, terrorism by the Ontario Police. He's being unseated, and he's exposed as a domestic terrorist, gang stalking with the people. He is no mayor, And this is exposing public corruption for which no gang stalking mayor is going to remain in office, okay? The criminal activity at this establishment is directly incriminating him. There is no separation. The bathroom that's where I'm under surveillance, it's directly incriminating him, okay? This is P.O.C. It is currently 1:41 p.m. That will be 2:41 p.m. in daylight savings time, and the sun would not be here when it's over me during daylight savings time at 12:51 p.m. in front of this very office. It would not be here, as I've already documented, 7 a.m. until sunset. This is under all circumstances the P.O.C. All right, it is 1:41 p.m. at the OVITT Family Community Library. This is P.O.C.
License 80 Wendy Charlie 354. And also gang stalker. This is a commercial actor, CHEVRON Security Incorporated. Been documenting them engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring, and doing so with the city of Ontario for years. There is a history of them engaging in the P.O.C. with the city of Ontario. That's again CHEVRON Security Inc. License 8 Mary Kelly Henry 236. License 8 Victor Xavier Frank 855. 9 Edward Frank Yolanda 428. License 9 Nancy Yolanda Samuel 333. 0 Zebra Apple 661, and that is an Arizona plate. 9 Mary Apple Frank 664. 8 Henry Wendy Frank 923. 8 Paul Frank Victor 013. Brightview systematically monitoring with the city of Ontario at the Ontario Town Square. Their commercial license is number 266211. And the license plate on this vehicle, where the third parties operating that vehicle, engaging in the commercial means of that business that is simultaneously gang stalking. License 54392 Victor 1. License 8 David Wendy Yolanda 522. 9 Edward Jerry George 365. 8 Mary Xavier Larry 523. 84794 Uncle 3. 6 Larry Paul Kelly 330. 6 Larry, oh yeah, I wrote that one already. I'm getting different angles on this demon that is gang stalking in her white van, which is covered in engineer light, while she's in operation for a communication device, gang stalking me with the Ontario police, who are at 303 North Euclid Avenue at the same time, while the Ontario airport is gang stalking by hovering over the Wells Fargo, where the fake sun is over my head. This is in the documentation at 9:03 a.m. today, which is again November 5th, 2025. 7 Frank 0 Edward 883. 6 David Larry Samuel 658. 6 Edward Nancy Wendy 516. 9 Uncle Xavier Victor 083. 9 Jerry Victor Paul 044. 8 Kelly Bob Larry 786, if I didn't read that one already. 7 Frank Bob 845. And gang stalking at 9:08 a.m. crossing path, targeting me in concert and on behalf of the Ontario Police Department as I'm documenting this gang violence in concert with the City of Ontario. This third party's license plate is 02416 Uncle 3, driving the white Chevrolet Silverado by what appears to be a Latino male. This is at, again, 9:08 a.m. at Wells Fargo, which is at 240 North Euclid Avenue, the street along C Street, driving down toward the C Street turn circle. They are crossing path gang stalking. The fake sun's moving as I move. Everybody is stalking me while that fake sun remains over me. They're all targeting together, and this is the identification of demons. Now, this is captured at 9:08 a.m. This demon is engaged in surveillance. 50 minutes later, they are remaining parked in relevant position under the fake sun. This is prosecuted regardless of what the people of the state are going to
state in court, which is legally irrelevant. It's an admission to a federal violation of the law. Oh, I was at the bank. Oh, I was at my friend's house at Downtown Ontario Luxury Apartments. I was waiting for the library to open. I was talking to my cousin that works for Brightview at the square. I'm here every week delivering flowers to an employee at Wells Fargo. I'm on my lunch break and I'm going to go back down to Stater Brothers and finish my shift. I was just taking a smoke break and then I got in my car and I coincidentally started it at the same time that the targeted individual is going to the library. It's criminal presence in the path under the fake sun. It is intentional with regard to the supernatural object in the sky that moves as I move, and the pattern of conduct of demons just like this stalking me with impossible light activity, maintaining an ongoing environment, harassing in character, like you hear the psychopaths at this venue, the administration, the demons that pace in and out of that door. They are demons that are engaging in monitoring. Their work schedule is going to be used to prosecute them. Okay, it's an admission to criminal activity under all circumstances. This license plate, 50 minutes later, engaging in what is surveillance in the specific environment, that environment that is there for the criminal and satanic purposes, all in furtherance of the conspiracy to commit murder, for which there is no defense for that population. That is license 02416 Uncle 3. Not only not coincidentally there in that environment, crossing path, creating light activity, but the moment that I am walking toward the library at 9:58 a.m., 50 minutes after they are crossing path, they then also at the same time are not only crossing path but pulling out of the parking spot. 50 minutes after I had already encountered them gang stalking me, regardless of what their claim is that they're headed to or where you're driving by, it doesn't matter. I document you. You are documented by the feds. You are going to be prosecuted. In addition to that, you are able to prosecute the whole state, because people that are up in Northern California do not have to be inside of the Open Family Community Library for me to expose them as gang stalking with the government in California. Okay, this is how this statewide system works, and these are demons. So the entity is engaging in this 50 minutes later. So at 9:58 a.m. and 19 seconds. So the first one is I capture this gang stalker 50 minutes later at 9:58 and 7 seconds. They are captured stalking in the path with light activity, both by being under the fake sun and also by having the lights on the vehicle. This is helping the terrorist leader, Mike Lorenz, and what is his predecessor, Derek Williams, and the gang members of the Ontario Police Department. And this is all vicarious criminal conduct. As the vehicle then at 9:58 a.m. and 19 seconds, and this is all uploaded to the Google Drive, where you would look at the timestamps of what the entity is doing second by second as I document stalking that I'm subject to, proven through the supernatural environment that is centered on me, where I am, where I go, and as I remain there. And then the entity's pattern of conduct that is proven that there's no coincidences here, and there's also going to be no defense. Okay, the entity's engaging in this P.O.C, and at 9:58 a.m. and 19 seconds, this third party is engaging in the same thing that they were engaging in at 9:08 a.m. under the fake sun. That's still over the same sky space over me. And this is license 02416 Uncle 3, again crossing path at the Wells Fargo parking lot area and the Downtown Ontario Luxury Apartments. And that fake sun is captured over me going east to be over this very venue, the Ovid Family Community Library, where mental illness is exposed, informing the public for your safety and also for your ability to understand and recognize the behavior of the mentally ill who surround us, who have formerly been maintaining ongoing surveillance, which is both satanic and under all circumstances criminal. But this is informing you in your personal life for your knowledge, and also informing your ability to enforce your rights under the law. This third party is engaging in surveillance as it's documented from 9:50 to 9:58, and that's just with regard to documenting this third party. Gang stalking is not individually engaged in. You have one person that is acting as an entity at all times. That entity is speaking on behalf of the state. That entity is acting on behalf of the state. That entity is harassing on behalf of the state. That entity is engaging in sexual violence on behalf of the state. That entity is doing it under all circumstances, and there are no constitutional rights with regard to the privacy that is inherently violated by the pattern of conduct. The entity is acting in the absence of any privacy with regard to being a public entity engaging in that criminal pattern of conduct. Again, this license plate as I'm capturing screenshots where you will see the demon gang stalking at 9:08, the same demon gang stalking at 9:58, following me as it is understood under a fake sun as I move from the square to the OVITT Family Community Library, where, by the way, the fake sun is still remaining over this entrance, informing everything that all of them who are exposed as demons and in federal court defendants, which is also understood with regard to the nature of the crime, terrorists engaging in the P.O.C. That is again license 02416U3 at 9:58 a.m. License 9 Thomas Larry Wendy 227. 80526 Yolanda 3. 4 Uncle David Berry 717, I believe. License 9 Mary Kelly Xavier 959. License 9 Frank Wendy Nancy 531. 8 Mary Xavier Larry 523. Third party gang stalker Anthesis, and that vehicle's license plate is 7 Bob David 0210. License 8 Nancy Jerry Larry 509. 6 Sam 0 Victor 566. 7 David Kelly Paul 196. 9 Edward Jerry George 365. 8 Uncle Jerry 158. Yes, and that license plate again of the van is indeed for Uncle David Berry 915. License Jerry Nancy David 7867. I believe that's a California plate, but it may be an out-of-state plate. Ohio, perhaps? It doesn't look like a traditional Ohio plate, though, but that is captured on the Google Drive. City of Ontario's gang stalking. City of Ontario's gang stalking by virtue of being subject to the pattern of conduct in the City of Ontario. City of Ontario is engaging in what is crossing path, affirmatively engaging in that pattern of conduct in concert with the population that exposes any city, any municipality where you're subject to terrorism by that population. It's the government's pattern of conduct. As the entity is engaged in gang stalking, it is under all circumstances exposing its own self because of the nature of the crime. License 1672533, City of Ontario. It is relevant to the unnecessary unseating of a gang stalker where money is spent on the resources that are utilized for terrorism, such as the funding to the terrorist organization of the police, the city fire department, the airport, the ability for them to utilize resources of the city to use the vehicles that are paid for and bear the logo of that municipality. That's gang stalking. That's engaging in terrorism, conspiring the murder of an American citizen. This is the unseating of gang stalking mayors. Alrighty, it is 3:19 p.m. inside of the state facilitating venue, the OVITT Family Community Library, which, as you can see through the video captured during the 1 p.m. hour, which is already establishing the ongoing evidence incriminating everyone, and not just everyone in the building, but the city, that is the state, that is gang stalking, because gang stalking is not executed by one building, by the people just in that building who hold interest in and of themselves to engage in gang stalking. This is what the state is maintaining inside of the venue, where the supernatural, that is the scientific impossibility, which is established as fact through video evidence for the world, and notably for the federal government to witness, is the presence of what is, by definition, the fake sun, because it's not the natural environment that would have the natural environment, it is not the natural environment that would include in the sky space over the entry of 215 BC Street, the OVITT Family Community Library, the sun in the same position that I captured it in still images at 10 a.m. today. And as you're aware of documentation that precedes today, the fake sun is over that same location, the entrance, when you're looking at the image of what is the evidence of stalking with the fake sun. So that ongoing illusion is present at 7:55 a.m. when I'm in the parking garage, which is downtown Ontario Luxury Apartments, and you're looking at a so-called early morning fake sun at the same address. And I'm looking at that over the same entrance of the OVITT Family Community Library, which you could see through that parking garage that's filled with engineer light as well. But that fake sun is in that same position as I then enter that venue at 10 a.m. And as I step out today after 1 p.m., it's over that same entrance. And as I am capturing what is that illusion being outside of this venue this morning at 8 and 9 a.m., and I'm showing you the presence of the fake sun in the same position where you're looking at nothing other than an illusion with regard to, and it's an unintelligent one. And all I'm doing is bringing it to the forefront of your mind. You already saw it at 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock this morning, and it's in the exact same position. Okay, as I step outside of the entrance after 1 p.m., where the employees of this venue are indeed gang stalking on the inside, just like they are targeting with the government and furtherance of murder outside. Okay, and they're engaged in targeting inside of the bathroom inside of this venue as well. This is the entity that's engaged in what is stalking with light. As you can see is my position, where the entity is targeting all manner of activity. The demons that surround, these are psychopaths. This is mentally ill. The mentally ill population is targeting me at computer station number 3. The entity is maintaining the use of their devices, their communication devices all together. So you're talking about a group of demons that are all gang stalking together, engaging in surveillance because the entity is maintaining a means of their phones going off with simultaneity to my physical movements and use of my devices. The demons are pacing back and forth in the means in which that they have any doorway to go in and out of to make noise and cross path, walking to and from the computer station as a means of crossing path, going to and from the gang stalkers that are working at the venue in order to cross path, doing so while they're coming in and out of the demons that work at the venue, the administration door. All of that is amplified in volume as well, where they are together stalking with light. They're all have multiple shadows, impossible light. They're all under the fake sun, impossible light, stalking together on behalf of the state, maintaining that surveillance inside of the building, and doing so with regard to what is the same psychopathic pacing that you're witnessing outside by planes and helicopters, by demons using fire trucks and police vehicles and ambulances, and doing so as a tremendous population, a tremendous amount of people all together on the roads and the highways and inside of all the buildings, those buildings that represent businesses and residences, and all of them are facilitating venues all together. That's all concentrated inside of the venue, where the entity is cooperatively acting as demons. This is demonic activity, but they're cooperatively acting together diligently, and again, demonic activity does not require any level of intelligence. The entity is gang stalking through little kids. This is demonic. Okay, so they're engaging in what is satanic impulses. The demons in them enable them to stalk, that is, create noise at the same time that I do. The demons in them create the ability for them to open and close the door at the same time as I make any movement or touch my phone screen or download a document or upload something or turn them off my phone, for example. It's the demons in them that are enabling them the ability to make sure that they are covering not only all places, but any place that I may be at while they are not talking to each other about it, and they're certainly not addressing me. This is gang stalking by a population. It's going to be chiefly underway by the entity that you do not know, okay? But it is also underway by your obviously fake friends and family, your co-workers, any place of worship where you are subject to the pattern of conduct. These are people that you are, in other words, familiar with, and they're gang stalking in the same exact way. Okay, so this is P.O.C, and I want to document a computer station number 3. The entity adjusts the targeting conduct with regard to what it is that I'm doing and where I'm doing it. So the entity, and that's the sex offender that does so in the bathroom. But with regard to being at the computer station number 3, the entity is making sure that I'm always surrounded. This is combined with psychopathic pacing, and that is putting into perspective what the entity is actually doing, and this is mental illness as I'm capturing it, and as I remain subject to it, which is a basis of prosecution and a basis of recovery. But in addition to that, the entity is targeting with light, where I am facing computer station number 3. I'm looking at what would be the opposite of the entryway, where no sun is going to be, no sun, there's only one sun, but even the fake sun, the entity is engaging what is keeping the light source, a light source, in alignment to my face, as I've documented before. But as I'm opposite of that position, that direction, the entity is still targeting with methods of light activity that are appearing on the ceiling, flashing of light. Psychopaths are sitting around as though it's not happening. That's mental illness. It's not the evidence of ignorance or innocence. They're delusional, and they will be diagnosed because it's already established. So you are all witnessing the mentally ill that are engaging in a fully exposed criminal system. The entity engages in what is ongoing activity creation as demons that are in the path, and on my left and my right, children are used as a means of psychopathic pacing. The same method of what is flashing of light activity, and this is speaking to what is their focus. Their focus is just seeking to it's basically Satan wants attention from me. These demons are stalking me, and they're obsessed with me, and they also want attention from me, even if negative attention, even if documentation to be published on the internet, even if everyone looks at you and knows that you are stalking me, and that you're gang stalking further into murder, and that you're a sex offender, because that's what they also know. And they also know that you are demon possessed. Even if that's the attention, that's how obsessed the demon possessed are, and they seek to have that sort of attention from me. You need to understand that it's the demons in them that seek that type of attention from me. And this is deduced from the fact that they go to the extent to do what are pointless. I find to be pointless. What is the flashing of light conduct about? But this is what they're doing. They're doing it while I'm documenting, uploading, processing documentation. So yes, the demons are hostile, but at the same time, it's not stopping anything. But these are not logical creatures, okay? These are demon-possessed people. Okay, so these are people that are not exercising brain functionality. It doesn't matter what their level of so-called accomplishments or education or experiences, they are all equally dumb. You're dealing with demonic spirits. And that's how you have that level of conduct acting in concert from the 5-year-old to the 49-year-old library director. Same level of dumbness with regard to stalking and the illogical conduct that is incriminating to yourself, detrimental to yourself, to your interests, while the federal government is watching you watch me. Okay, this is what the entity is doing. I want to document in detail the ongoing methods of harassment. It's demonic. While you're subject and inflicted by what is an ongoing demonic environment, this is relevant to recovery. So you're going to prosecute for that. The entity is engaging in what is nothing other than stalking me. And this is the reality of what is a people that are obsessed with you altogether. It is deranged, and it is relevant to what is understanding all the facets of domestic terrorism that the demon-possessed are engaging in together on behalf of the government. Okay, and it's serving the criminal purpose of what is surveillance, and also what is the entity that is, not only are they, this is mental illness, but the entity is very sick. So the mentally ill spirit that possesses them engages in more mentally ill behavior, and that is speaking to the spiraling out of control conduct. And they do that without saying a word. They do that without addressing you. I'm going to do this now. Oh no, that's not what's said. They just engage in more of it. As you document psychopathic pacing, as you document children, gang stalking, the entity will surround you with kids that engage in that conduct. And then they'll have a whole group of kids engage in that conduct. They'll surround you with that as you document that. That's the psychopathic behavior that's spiraling out of control. And it's derived from what is a mentally ill spirit that is inside of all of them. Okay, that's not a defense. This is a psychoanalysis of the demon-possessed that are engaging in criminal conduct, which are maintaining the elements for which there's no warrant or probable cause for the government to maintain, engineer light around me, to maintain ongoing audible activity, to maintain ongoing presence under all circumstances. The entity is gang stalking while you're at work at the venue. You're going to be prosecuted for gang stalking, and you're going to prison when you're doing that on the job, in that environment, on behalf of the government, where you engage in kidnapping like I've documented. That's the legal analysis. That's exposing public corruption, and that is the malice behind gang stalking. Everyone is fully exposed. But I just want to document the entity is focusing the direction that I'm facing. That's where impossible light. So you'll see the images of me facing computer number 3. That's facing the wall area. Inexplicable light appearing. Just like when they're driving by outside and the entity has a fake sun over me and engineer light is swimming across the wall. Inexplicable light focused on where I'm at. Obsessed with me. Obsessed while stalking, okay? And that's monitoring conduct. This is P.O.C. It is currently 3:30 p.m.
Alrighty,
first of all, you're going to look at the light activity. Here's one shadow in front. You can see it traveling forward to get in front of me. And here's another one that'll catch up and to get in front of me. This is all impossible light. Multiple shadows giving you context. See my two shadows there, perpendicular. Here comes in front of me. These are stalkers. Okay? So the African American female that was sitting at computer station number 1, maintaining ongoing sensational activity. These are demons, and they're engaged in harassment on behalf of the Ontario Police Department in furtherance of murder. They're all sitting in engineer light. The African American gets up upon knowledge that they're being documented because they're demons, and they're immediately replaced with other demons that are engaging in the same exact behavior. They're doing so while demons are outside tracking my steps. They're pacing together in the same environment. They're acting together in concert. This is the entity that's engaging in the pettiness that's practiced as a population, such as the debris blown on me by a gang stalker operating with the company Brightview, being inside and stalking with ongoing noise, stalking with light, pacing all around you, and also doing so while the entity maintains impossible light inside and ongoing sensational activity, where the most minute movement is creating what is a jerking of the dust. This is how demons are engaged in passive-aggressive acts of violence. It's an ongoing battery, okay, while they're engaged in what is mimicking, hitting in one way or another, and it's impossible activity creation, like driving on the street, creating an earthquake on the sidewalk. This is demonic activity, and it's underway in here, and this is where they have the fake sun setting in alignment to me as well. This is where they're in engineer light. This is a form of targeting, and this is relevant for the prosecution of the entity. This is committed in furtherance of murder. This is psychopathic stalking in the venue. Alright, the gang stalking employees are acting in concert with it. These are demons. And P.O.C.
Alrighty, this is the airport stalking. And so is ARCO and CHEVRON, specifically Hardik. Gang stalking at CHEVRON. The demons that are stalking on this side of that street over there, they're targeting me with impossible light. At CHEVRON and ARCO, they're targeting me. That's a stalker that's obsessed with me, just like they are inside of the OVITT Family Community Library, where this population keeps me under surveillance with that government that stalks me in planes and helicopters under a fake sun, and does so under a fake moon, where all of their alternate universe, where a bunch of demons are keeping me under surveillance in furtherance of murder. Here's my shadow here, and here's another one here. These demons are doing so inside of the OVITT Family Community Library, and gang stalking immigrants are being deported, okay? Gang stalking businesses are being prosecuted, and the population is always adding evidence against itself. They're molesting me from a distance. This is evidence of mental illness and obsession that is criminal because the government is stalking. And this is mental illness. They're driving over there, molesting me over here. Okay, and while they do it, as you document, you see that? Hardik is being deported. Hardik is being deported out of this country. Hardik is inside the CHEVRON right now, and German does the same thing. Balbier's gang stalking me under the fake sun in the morning. Okay, the entity is gang stalking me with the government that is serving to deport the demons that are targeting me in the first place. This is how their system is imploding, and this is how their mental illness works against them. Headlights on the opposite side of the street are not going to swipe against the building. Sunlight is not going to cause light to move across the buildings when you're driving under the sun. These are demons who are mentally ill, and I just documented it, uploaded to the Google Drive, the ongoing sexual assault and battery, which is, again, caused by the criminal activity of the domestic terrorist Mike LORENZ, who was going to be federally prosecuted as a terrorist. It is his fault. It is that agency's fault that demons are stalking 24 hours a day, and those demons make up a so-called police department that's being disbanded by necessity for the protection of the public, because this mental illness, it's embodied within those demons that wear Ontario police uniforms. Because of that agency, they're stalking me. That's how you understand. That's how that works. It's corrupt and wicked and demented leadership. They're gang stalking because of the government that's stalking me in commercial planes and helicopters, as I've shown you. They've shown you. This is P.O.C. And the gang stalking immigrants are getting deported. Okay? This is in engineer light. This is the demon that's serially stalking, by the way, and doing so in the engineer light on behalf of the government that maintains aerial surveillance. All right, that's the pattern of conduct: walking, running in the engineer light, where the demon possessed are engaged in all manner of surveillance. And this is all they do in the library. They keep me under surveillance all day long. This obsession is criminal. It is of the government, and it's speaking to the public safety concern regarding the mentally ill that are walking around without appropriate labels. This is P.O.C. That's the Ontario International Airport that's being shut down. All Alrighty, this is video of the entity stalking, and they're flying closer to me as I'm now at the bus stop. They were flying more south while I was closer to Starbucks down there. This is a molestation of my person. That's exactly what the Ontario police just committed, and as I'm documenting it, those demons are stalking with these demons. This is mental illness that's shared by the Ontario police. That's what you're focusing on. They're a part of the same demonic pack of demons who are engaging in surveillance, maintaining surveillance, and the Ontario police are stalking at what is F Street and Euclid Avenue, and they are molesting me with impossible light, just like you see here, and then they're gang stalking, crossing path in a vehicle that's issued by the city. They're using the resources of the government while they're engaged in gang stalking me, and it's the agency's pattern of conduct that is shared by the people of the state. Okay, the entity, the Ontario International Airport, is gang stalking with the people of the state together. This is, again, the form for what is impossible light that's moving across the wall. That's not headlights. They're monitoring, and the Ontario police are demons who are monitoring. Demonic activity pursuant to monitoring and you're stalking while doing so is relevant to ongoing real-time knowledge. They're also monitoring my vagina with the population that's keeping me under surveillance. They're stalking at this intersection regarding specific knowledge about me, following me, including using police vehicles of the Ontario Police Department to do so. This is the pattern of conduct. This is what I'm capturing in screenshots. So that'll be uploaded to the Google Drive. This is evidence of the entity. Ontario International Airport gang stalking is the city of Ontario. The pattern of conduct by the Ontario Police Department is already on the record. And this is documentation speaking to the concerted criminal conduct of that Ontario Police Department that is conspicuously stalking moments earlier. And I'm currently putting it together in screenshots regarding that. It's a white male. He's driving in what is this direction, which would be west on F Street, molesting and stalking with the city of Ontario using commercial planes. Okay, this is P.O.C. The entity is maintaining ongoing surveillance. I'm going to get this license plate right here. This is a demon. They've been here for longer than 5 minutes, driving off while anticipating. License 8SNA 389 P.O.C. All right, they're doing so molesting with the Ontario Police Department. Okay, they're monitoring with the Ontario International Airport. That aiming light conduct, that's the significance of having a fake sun over my head all day long. And they are specifically stalking me while the fake moon remains over me. That's how you're understanding that this is aiming light in furtherance of the P.O.C. That's how you understand that this is aiming light in furtherance of the P.O.C. Ontario police sharing in what is molesting, psychological torture, sexual assault, and battery as an entity is what that agency is engaged in. They're going to prison for kidnapping me over and over again. That's what you're witnessing. That's what all this means. They're going to federal prison and mental asylums. They are the Nephilim. The Ontario Police Department are the demon possessed. And I'm going to prosecute them. This is P.O.C. Here is the entity engaging in gang stalking by helicopter now. This is as I'm publishing the evidence onto X, onto YouTube. These are demons that are stalking an engineer light, molesting from now Saris Regis Group with impossible light. The entity's engaged in what is molesting from here all the way at the bus stop. Their headlights are not going to reach over there. These are sex offenders stalking with the police. That's the third-party conduct. This is what Chevron is going to be prosecuted for, ARCO is going to be prosecuted for, and Mike LORENZ. The pattern of conduct is underway in this specific environment. This is P.O.C. The entity engages in what is stalking and then is engaged in what is the criminal acts of criminal defamation. This is why terrorist leaders like not only the kidnappers, for example, Vivanco, Joseph Valencia, Durham, Jason Knighton, Lester Keys, S. Patty, A. Morris, Corporal Kemp. You have Nathan Morgan. They're going to federal prison for kidnapping because they've been stalking as an agency and then engaging what is defaming my character with state actors like Jason Fields, Eric Corey Spencer, a third party, Tracy Banks, a third party, the people of the state, while they're gang stalking all together. That's a psychopath back there stalking with light. Okay, just like you see them driving right now, you see there's no headlights that are going to reach at a distance. These are demons. Okay, they're engaging what is targeting me with light, and I've shown you the evidence of that. The entity is stalking by helicopter with regard to, again, mental illness. They're going to federal prison for this. They're engaging in stalking in helicopters as I begin uploading the evidence. They're doing that in a specific environment where impossible light activity is touching. These demons are surrounding at the perimeter, stalking with the police. The engineer light is the core aspect with regard to gang stalking. I want to be clear, the Ontario Police is being disbanded and Mike LORENZ is going to federal prison for conspiring my murder as a terrorist leader while that pattern of conduct has been underway. Meaning my being kidnapped, having never committed a crime, is not coincidental while this entity of demons who are stalking together have been engaged in targeting me, and I was also documenting it. while they're making up criminal acts that I never committed, while they're making up events that never happened, while they're making up things like mental illness, which the entity actually suffers from, when they're doing things like stalking in a helicopter, when they're doing things like stalking with light, you can't even see the headlights from that vehicle, but yet they're molesting me from a distance while they're driving on and off of these properties, while they're targeting me. And as I publish it on the internet, the demons of the Ontario police, the Nephilim, are engaging in that ongoing, heavily documented pattern. Every time I start uploading, what do those demons do? They start stalking. That's literally the definition. That's a pattern. They're going to prison for that. Okay, because they are mentally ill, they fail to appreciate it on this end of a federal court hearing. Okay, this is P.O.C. and that's a criminal act they're monitoring with the police. This is surveillance, not traffic. This is P.O.C. It is currently 10:55 p.m. This is where the entity engaged in criminal summoning while they were stalking by helicopter. P.O.C.